back in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Every single time, folks, I forget how to do this. Even though it happens every single week, I still forget. How you doing, everybody? I am joined today for the Brick Something News with Dom of ToyDOMination. Good to see you, Dom.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's been too long.
Yeah, exactly. We were starting to say that right before we started. I had to jump on a little later than usual. So we did super lightning speed catch up. But yeah, I think the last time I saw you was on your channel and I had a blast. We were talking about some little game things that I did, and you kind of took me through an unplanned quest. And I was like, I wasn't ready for it. But it was super fun, man. I had a blast. And yeah, so appreciate you being able to come back on. I think the last time we crossed paths was do the co-teaching with the Legions class folks, and unfortunately I wasn't able to join them.
I know, yeah.
For Legions class recess, where you hosted one of your awesome games. But I did watch, I watched a little jealously in the replay and a little bit live. I think I jumped in to be like, what are you guys doing? You're supposed to be in class. Yeah, but that was cool, man. And I've been watching your stuff, and you just continue to do some amazing things, both of you. And yeah, I love it, man. I appreciate everything about your channel, the fun, the energy, the creative things that you so, and you'll see us. So today I like to kind of bring on a co-host and try and bring things that I think maybe might interest them based on what I know about them. And so hopefully there's some stuff in here that interests you and interests the chat. So
all this flattery, man. I'm gonna have to come back more often. This is great. You just made my weekend. This is awesome. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I am. Yeah, thanks. Awesome. Yeah, man.
No, man, it's good stuff. I want little animations that are no brainer, but
so I actually wanted Frag, whatever your schedule was, here to talk about your intro there, because it's really cool. First of all, very 80s MTV, right, with the astronaut with the flag. Yeah. But I had two questions there. So who is the skeleton figure that's in that? Who's the astronaut skeleton figure?
That is a Buzz Lightyear with a Mythic Legion skull head. That's all, and it's totally something that I saw David Williams from the Legions community, amazing customizer, do. And I was like, oh, I want that. And those things.
That's awesome. Okay.
Those things ended up on clearance. So
dirt cheap. Yeah, great. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, MTV Moon Man. And
yeah, that's great. And then you put all that together yourself, obviously, right? Through editing.
I did.
Man, that's fantastic.
Yeah, man. I thank you. And yes, I remember, this will come up again later, but you'd reached out to me one time and sort of mentioned some of the things that I was doing, just the trading card thing or whatever, and I'll come up again later. But
I still love that.
It's like, oh man, I appreciate that the folks notice that stuff, and we have the same nerdy references. So
yeah. Also, anyway. I was today years old when I realized that news was an acronym. I thought it was news and needless ephemeral we saw, and then I saw those two together. I was like, man, I'm really dumb. That's really
no.
Totally over my head.
Yeah, no. That's basically my way of saying I can't commit to actual news. The folks who do that, and there's so many channels that do it so much better than I do.
Nope.
But it's no, it's just my week is scanning through stuff, needless ephemera, or
it's great. I did not know
sit there.
Okay, that's cool. Great. Very clever.
I don't want to be man, I really want to talk about this thing I've been thinking about from 20 years ago, but it's not news. No, you know what? So I basically tell people it's glorified geeky show and tell. So
that's what we do. We're like, this isn't news. These are pre-orders we're interested in. This is something that we want to buy, regardless if it's 3 months old or whatever. So yeah, same thing, man. So
right on. Well, let's see who is here today. Thanos, of course, is here. Super awesome, and thank you in advance for all your help, Thanos. Carol, how's it going? Nolan, oops, I meant Nolan. How's it going,
was
Nolan?
that Tool? Did he have Tool as his icon
And
there?
then,
Sorry.
Not this, but I think you're referring to this, Josh.
That one,
Brown?
yes.
What's going on, Josh? Hello, folks. And people are saying hello directly to you.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Ray. How's it going? Good to see you, Ray. I wonder if, you were probably crossing paths with a lot of these folks over at Legions Con, I'm sure.
I was picking. That was a good chance.
Yeah. And we'll talk about Legions Con. Let's see. Outer Multiverse. How's it going?
What's up?
Matthew Rodriguez. Speaking of Legions Con, and one of my favorite things to hear updates about going on. Super excited to constantly hear about Armies of Ashmore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Glad you had a good show. Oops. See this thing, man. I feel like I'm doing it weekly. I was like, and I forget what I'm supposed to do.
The chat thing has a weird scroll to it sometimes too. Like you think you clicked it and it doesn't. It's scrolling away from you. Like, yeah, I stutter. I stumble on that one all the time. So
I'm trying to be slick and like reference something they say, and then it's the next person.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. Anyway, thank you all for joining us on a Sunday. Again, I'm joined today by Dom of ToyDOMination. We're gonna just geek out about needless ephemera that we saw, maybe catch up a little bit along the way. But if you remember, I will put together a document. You can go to that URL that's mentioned there right now, or you can use this QR code to take you, and you'll see all the links from the past shows, because ultimately the stuff that we talk about is not just say, hey, just blah blah blah. It's stuff that I want folks to know about, to go check out some of the creators we highlight, follow them, do all those things, like their stuff, because there's just too many good things out there to check out. And let's make it easier on each other to find it. And, let's give these folks some love, because as you'll see from the stuff we talk about today, it's a lot of hard work, artistry, creativity going into this stuff. And so, yeah, do that. All right. So again, pro over here. I think I'm supposed to do this, Dom. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go ahead and
I am so excited. Yes.
Well, tell us what you're excited about from what you're seeing on this screen, because apparently go for it.
Okay, so Bo seems, first of all, the guy who's behind this project seems like a really good dude. He came on with Landon from Invincible Toys, so he's working with other toy companies or indie toy companies that are already successfully launched and have toys out there. So he's getting a lot of good insights on how to actually make this succeed. So that's great. First of all, also it was really great to see that these indie companies all work together and share. There's not like, this is my race bowl or this is my trade secret. So that was pretty cool. But for this 100%. Line specifically, the way he's kind of marketed it is Space Marines and Battle Beasts. And I was like, okay, here's my money. I'm good.
I was going to say sold for Dom. 100%.
Don't need anything else, man. This is great. I can't wait. There's 4 creatures. He's got some twists in like the origins and the bad guys that he was kind of teasing at when he was on. But yeah, here they are. Fantastic.
Yeah, so if you want to know more inside scoop stuff or actually direct interview, definitely go check out ToyDOMination and look for that video. And I'll take folks there at the end. But yeah. And so were you a big Battle Beasts person as a kid at all?
So what's funny is that, yes, I absolutely love them. And I remember going to KB and being like, wow, but I never bought into them. And whenever I was at people, and it was weird, it was only certain friends that had them. They weren't universals like G.I. Joes or Star Wars. But whenever people had them, I'd stop and be like, look at these things. And it wasn't until in high school, when people are purging their collections, they'd like open up a sock drawer and there'd be a few in there. I was like, I'm going to take this walrus now. I'm going to take this spider now. So I like would slowly just pick up. Thank you so much. I saw that, Josh. Awesome tool, by the way. So I slowly pick up a few of them. But then I was like, I don't need these. And only recently, in the last 3 years, I've been like, you know what? I do need Battle Beasts again. So I have a little shoebox of them right now, like very classic, like, but they're so stinking expensive. They're so horrible. So, but yes, I think they're adorable. I think they're awesome. So big fan.
I was really into them. I didn't have them myself either, but just sort of like love them from afar. And the concepts, I am a sucker for the whole animal thing, the anthro animal thing.
Yes.
And I'm definitely a sucker for nostalgia, like mainly taking the nostalgia and sort of bringing it into the 21st century with, high articulation and all those kinds of things. And these things totally fit the bill. I actually ended up putting a little poll on the on my community tab on the channel, just sort of asking like, hey, you get one, which of these 4 characters? And admittedly, there weren't a ton of people that answered. We have a small community here over at Brick Something, but the bear, folks love the bear. Yeah.
So Josh Wintzilla did the painting for those figures that you see in the promo shots. So that's Josh who painted them. So he did a great job, and when he did that second color to it, it dragged out all the bear's details that aren't really shown in these. But yeah, so that's Josh's work right there. So look at that hair. Like you start seeing all the details in it. And they have the helmets too that go over like the actual animal heads. And he made, I can't remember with the arm weapons, like those come off and connect. And Bo is making it so it's very modularized. So later on expansion packs, you can clip and like create a new weapon out of the different accessories, or they can swap in between. And like,
that's really cool.
He's been making stuff for a while, so he has like the experience. He has his own shop for years, so he's played around with like 132 scale to 118 scale, and now he's leveled up to this one. But he's got a lot of cool tricks up his sleeve. So
yeah, I want to say on a previous news thing, we were just looking at these before they were a Kickstarter. He had sort of teased that they might come, and we were just geeking out about, hey, Battle Beasts, and at that time, the way Bo was talking about them on the site, it wasn't clear what scale they were going in, and he'd shown that he'd like printed out prototypes and stuff. I'm so both glad and a little bit sad for my wallet that these do fit in with the main scale.
I know,
that I do. But no, I mean, these are going to be hard to like skip out on. And in general, I like to check out figures, right? And I like to check out, especially like a lot of these new indie toy makers. I want to support folks who are like clearly passionate about stuff, but also just like I want to see what they've got going on. So I see these kinds of things, like this is the stuff that I geek out. Like you mentioned the sort of modularity. That totally fits my Lego brain and my Mythic Legions pop and swap brain. So
it's so similar to the Cosmic Legions, how they have the weapon that comes off the front now. Very similar. And I want to say he showed alternate muzzles on the show too. I can't remember, but yeah, he's got plans to keep expanding this too. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and it looks cool. I like to kind of see how people approach the different the articulation schemes and everything. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going in heavy, but I at least want to grab 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm in. I almost troop builded this. I'm like, no, hold on. Let's like.
Are your boys into this too? I imagine.
Oh, 100%. So
I can.
Yeah. The debate was, do we get multiple of one type and then get a single of the other, or do we spread it across? Because like I've got a ton of McFarlane Space Marines, I've got Cosmic Legions, so this fits in with that, and you can use these as huge like mutants or whatever for 4-inch too. So I was like, man, there's so much multiverse play with these figures. So yeah.
Yep, different folks too are excited about this. Folks are going to back them. Ray's asking, absolutely. I'd love to get Bo on. It's just that as we approach the holiday season, I got to figure that out. And I know, like, so where are we at now? We've got 19
Before.
days to go,
Yeah.
probably not before, but I would love to talk to. I like to talk to the folks after the campaigns too, and just sort of like see how things are going and give them that chance to, you know, I don't know. It just seems like he's kind of busy. He's all over. He was on. I was almost going to be able to talk to him over at Mega J's channel on Friday night, but I couldn't jump on. But it was nice to sort of listen to him talk with Oz and Ken about the project, and yeah, making the rounds. And you know, he's in pretty good shape, past 50%, 19 days to go, and we're looking at $35 figures, which I know when I speak with some folks, are like, that's crazy. I totally get it. But again, it's a small company, it's an indie company. Like,
I mean,
I know what I pay for figures, and
the newest Legion wave is 37 a
good.
figure. You know what I mean? So like that's comparable to that. And these are a little bit more like, if you look at a Marvel Legends figure that's out now, like they have some hands and maybe an alternate head or weapon, but like these guys come with like they come with a bunch of kit and like the helmets and the, I don't know. I get the price point, and they're pretty sleek. So
yeah, a lot for these indies. I totally get the price point.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm buying things, not at all trying to flex, but it's actually a little bit of like remorse. Like, man, do I really spend this much on?
Everyone's got a budget. Yeah, everyone's got a budget too. Absolutely. And there's a lot of Kickstarters out, right? There's a ton that are coming out. Like it spreads it thinner. But for me personally, right, speaking of this, I was like, hey, so we need to carve a little bit aside for this, because I don't know. I was just really excited about it. So
yeah, they look great. He was talking about the buck. I personally would also love to see like a little bit of more thickness on some of these guys, particularly, you know, like I'm thinking Bear, but I totally get what they're doing with the sort of like the swappability, right? And the sort of reusability a little bit. And I like that. Again, I'm, you know, I play with like little minifigs that I'll basically have the same body, and I've had them since the
Brick, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting thick. I hear you. I hear you on wanting thick 2Cs.
Yes.
Everyone seems to be loving the shark, and I agree. I think it's
great.
Really cool. Yeah.
And this is one of the few things that we have yet to have in hand. There are some companies doing the fish, right?
That's right.
Very few that we have in hand, with the exception of a bad guy and Power Rangers. So that's the Kickstarter. If folks are interested, check it out. I did want to highlight, Ryan was saying, I remember picking up some Battle Beasts at a neighbor's garage sale. I had no idea what they actually were until seeing them at a toy show last year. I loved them.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, there's a Transformers connection, isn't there?
There is, yeah. And they're still adorably fierce. But yeah, so that's how it originally started, was it was supposed to be another... Yes, it's a Transformers connection, yeah. Right. And then Americanized to just be like, no, these are just Battle Beasts, so yeah.
Yes, and so many things are like that. Like here, Fanigan is here saying hello, but Fanigan does these amazing Micronauts custom figures that he's working on, and that's again another property that has, well, it's actually the other way around. It is the roots of what we now know as some of the Transformers. So it's a fun ecosystem.
I'm writing some of these names down that I don't recognize, so I can go follow these.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, you should check out Fanigan for sure. What's going on, Pains? Thanks for joining. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody.
Another good dude right there.
Oh, 100%. You got to get on that show and get therapized.
I went on a while ago, and like I owe.
Oh, you were one of the other ones?
Yeah. So I owe several people a return visit, but I'm being weird. I'm a weird guy, but I'm trying to bundle them into like, this is a topic I want to have these people on. So trying to juggle that is kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm like, no, I want them on to talk Joe Classified. Like we want to do a classified one because Joe's huge into it. So I'm trying to like align all those stars to get Joe and certain guests on. So yeah,
I hear you. No, you're not weird at all. It's smart programming. That's why like it took me a while to land on this weekly thing, because I was like, you know what? I just need a container, a thing that I can just do regularly, and like it's open on. Let's just bring people on. But then I'm like you. I'm like, man, but now once a week, and there's so many people I want to talk to, and
it's really hard. It's hard not only to make sure you get everybody and don't seem like you're exclusive. It's even harder to follow. Like I'll admit, your show, because it's Sunday nights. Sunday nights is my prep night for school and work. So like I'm always like
Yeah,
hustling,
I
right?
hear you.
But
Yeah.
what I do love that you've been doing recently, and you made that sweet custom background with the cave wall, and you've been
Oh,
doing those 360s. Every one of those I've watched and been like, this is good. I
oh,
love
right
this. Like,
on.
yeah, and you put them on IG. Those are great, man. It shows the figure off really well. It shows your talent off. I'm like, this is
Thank you.
good. So yeah, those are great.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that Payne's pushed me to just like sit and create one day because it's one of those things I want to do, and then
Yeah.
and then it just sort of I got to do this instead. But anyway, that's Battle Beast slash combat creatures, not Battle Beast at all. Let's not get it twisted. It's combat creatures. I love the alliteration in general, but also
Yep.
that playing on the Battle Beast.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you all get into it all? I'll bring it up anyways. The like dancing on the gray area,
Yeah,
copyright
yeah,
thing.
licensing. Yeah, he did. So he is walking. He even said he's like, "Hey, I'm walking that line," but
Yeah,
there's so much difference in. Like if you look at the colors,
yeah,
the
yeah.
lion from the line was white with a patch in blue. His is
Right,
gold and red, right? So there's enough
right.
distinction in there, and yeah. So I think it's homage,
Yeah.
definitely. So yeah. And there's so
Well,
much
I love
originality
it.
to it too. Yeah, there's a lot of originality to it. Like, just look at that, like the glove and like the pauldrons. Like, yeah, just cool, man. Sorry, I was just caught by that
No,
photo. Yeah, that's
you're
also
good.
Wintzilla on IG, by the way, does amazing photography. You want to go check him out.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the quick sort of thing that kind of
Wow,
qualifies as news, so I can call this a news thing. I wasn't a big I'm blanking on the game. Is it
is it
what's it called?
Samurai Showdown? Is that what this is?
It might be. Honestly, I
Okay.
don't remember. I was gonna say Soul Calibur, but I don't even think that's right. It's one of those. Maybe someone in the chat can tell us. But I just saw like cool um armor, right? I was like cool samurai
Yeah, of
armor, and
course.
I love storm collectibles, and there's only sort of certain ones that I can kind of work into my shelf without. Well, I mean, ultimately I can work them all, and I know how
Yeah,
you are. You and I are similar. Headcanon, that's where it's at. Whatever we want.
absolutely. Yes.
But I love cool looking figures, and this looks really great. They just announced this. They're they're just really cool figures. I don't know if you've never gotten. Are you messed with Storm Collectibles at all?
No, and Geek the F out said it's Soul Calibur, so I was wrong. No, I
Thank
don't think
you,
I
Johnny.
have, man. These are like Mezco price point, right?
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of these can probably be about $70-$80, and
Oh,
now
that's not
they're
so
all
bad. Okay.
sold directly through. Well, some of the bigger ones can get even further, but this is all sold through BBTS now. Big Bad Toy Store is now like the only
Okay,
domestic place to grab them.
gotcha.
But anyway, they're cool figures. They use this kind of like outer layer, softish, rubbery plastic thing that's a little bit weird at first, but like the posability's great. And they just all the sculpts look so super on model. They do Mortal Kombat. They've done Street Fighter in the past, so like the whole fighting game seems to be like a thing that they're doing.
That's cool.
But anyway, so I
This
look at
guy,
this thing and he looks really good.
he does. He's so arrogant. He's not even look. He's giving us the bottom of his side cheek for this profile shot too. Just the cockiness here. But yeah, look at that, and you can tell from where the when you zoomed in there, that shoulder looks like it's got good range of motion despite the pauldron too. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
always, yeah, that's really cool, man.
We'll come
Yeah, I
back to
dig it.
some samurai too, because I know you came across some, and you and many people came across some at Legion's Con new announcements of toys. But this will be like a early samurai tease before we go on to something that I know that you love, and I was happy to tell you this
I'm
the
anticipating.
other day. So
Yes,
this is a Hollywood Reporter, Alien Legion. The second I saw this, I was like, "Oh crap, Dom's gonna love
man,
it."
you were the only person who told me this. And when you said, when we were coming on the show, I was like, I'm not gonna look at this up. I'm gonna wait for him to tell. So I am in your hands right now. Like, open your, like, tell me more. What is this?
Okay, so there's not a whole lot of work that's happened other than that they've signed it. They've got creatives
Okay.
involved. So Tim Miller from Deadpool, and a bunch of commercials prior to that. But yeah, Deadpool um,
Hmm.
is handling it.
Hmm.
It's with Warner Brothers, and so I mean that's really all there is at this time. It's just sort of like, hey, there's an announcement, and what get I don't want to see this. Come on, I'm trying to show Dom cool things. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
And it's, you know, it's THR. They generally, yeah, they don't report things until things are signed. So clearly something's in the works. We'll see what comes of it and when it comes. But, you know, Warner Brothers is hungry for a franchise. And so it's a Marvel thing, which is fun, but it's, you know, it's not.
Well, I mean,
obviously.
So here's the danger. Yeah, here's the danger with picking up something that's right. So like I'm instantly fanboying. Like here's one of my binders of Alien Legions comics, right? So you know, I've got almost the entire series and all the spin-offs. I was late to coming on into them, but I'm a big Alien Legion fan. And so like I am coming into this with expectations and a frame, you know what I mean? So like already these people there's it's going against them, you know, they have to like form against this expectation. But at the same time, I loved the new Dune. Like it is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love it. So I appreciate a new take on something, but I am a little like Marvel with Deadpool for, I don't know, that kind of my Spidey sense is up.
Well, I like to kind of just, you know, we'll find out. We'll see what happens. Like life's too short for me to stress about what ifs. I'm just excited that people remember what this thing is. Like
that's true, right?
Before you brought it up, I was like, oh wait, people actually read that. Other people read that. So I was super excited when you're breaking it down. Just even the way you were talking about it on your show, in terms of just like, one, it's not a bunch of humans, right? And it's a truly ensemble cast.
Yes,
and so, you know, I'm intrigued that someone would go, can we revive this thing?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. And you're right. A lot of movies I go into being like, let's see what happens. But this is one of the few times that I'm like getting ready on my keyboard, like, what did you do to, you know, so like, that's, I don't know. I mean, it's awesome, but you're right. Most of the time I go and being like, let's see. Okay. That's how they did Pennyworth, or, what's the butler? Batman's butler? Yeah, Pennyworth. Yeah, like, that's Pennyworth, how you did Pennyworth this time? Yep. Okay, all right, that's a different take on it. Usually, I'm pretty accepting for those things. So
yeah, and then, you know, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but there is that part that I've just highlighted. But it's fine.
Oh no, no.
But we'll see. Deadpool was great.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so hopefully this doesn't go Michael Bay, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like you said, let's see what happens. So
yes, let's see what happens, and just think about the possibility of a Hollywood film. You know, we know that films don't always get great merchandise, but you know, this could mean we get Alien Legion figures.
Yeah, so I was just about to say, at the very least, we'll get merch coming out of this, right? Which I will gob up. So for those in the chat, Thanos and Nolan said they haven't read this. It is break it down. Grittier sci-fi where, much like the French Foreign Legion, you have an alien legion, so it takes people from across their universe, and each story is sort of inspired by a Vietnam era, which was, you know, the war America was just coming out of. So they're more gritty. Characters die. Like there's a couple that you can expect won't die off, but things happen. People have PTSD. Someone becomes addicted to the drugs and it affects their combat performance. Like there is a lot that goes on to this. The stories are interesting. They're sort of leaning towards Star Trek and less Star Wars. Like there's no force and lightsabers or luck. Usually it's your grit and determination that gets you through things. So I really appreciate it. The art's still pretty well, it holds up for an 80s comic, but the stories are great. The characters are great. Like I went back and reread it. Actually, after we had talked about it, I went back and reread like 10 issues. I'm like, this is really good still. Like this is still holds up. So
the artwork is really good. You say that it holds up. Absolutely. And it was different from a lot of the Marvel stuff at the time. It reminded me more of like, I don't know, like, what was
the Nam?
Sure, yeah. All of that stuff coming out of what was the name of that universe? The next new universe, I think, is what they kind of did, like a sort of separate thing from Marvel. But it was around that time period. There were a lot of like comic craft books and stuff where they were exploring with different artists and different styles. So it broke a little bit from the house style. It was almost like, you know, Bill Sienkiewicz was one of the more out there artist that was able to work in the Marvel universe proper, and I feel like they were drawing from a little bit of that was as they kind of built out this other sort of side universe thing.
Yeah,
And
cool.
Alien Legion kind of was one of those where it wasn't like super out there artwork, but anyway, I loved it, and I love just different takes on sci-fi. I love the idea of sort of like a following the troops kind of thing, and we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
We'll see.
I will say, and people bring up good points. Like, oops, I got to get rid of this banner for a second. Yeah, it's true that Warner lately has been in this weird habit of working on things and throwing them out, but I think that may hopefully be isolated to DC because they're trying to figure out their stuff. But anyways, a couple of folks jumping in. Hey John, what's going on? Figuratively speaking, I saw Allison, Retro Toy Princess, in here, and I believe and Ken. Someone let Dom out. Yeah, he was released. He has to go back into his cage at about 5:45. So enjoy it while it's here. You're not the only one who enjoyed Pennyworth. That show was absolutely bonkers and made no sense and was amazing. I'm fully convinced that show was a generic spy show, and someone, absolutely.
Yes, and they slapped on that character. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Which unfortunately feels very like it seems to be something that Warner's does a lot, or people with the DC license. Anyways. Ray also read this as a teen, wants figures. Who cares about the movies?
Okay, fair enough.
I hear that. Yeah. And they had a couple of specials, like they weren't there were the issues, and then they had
like one shot story offs. Like I've got those somewhere back here too. So
yeah. And there was New Universe. Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking about. That sort of like tried to do a whole other universe of things. So New Universe, which is more standard comics, and then Epic Comics. Thank you. Yes, you're right. It was Epic Comics, which had that quote unquote all stuff comics,
and that's who Aliens from is Epic. So yeah.
Yes, and the nice paper. God.
Yeah.
So nostalgic for that stuff. All right. Speaking of alien stuff, this is just a fun, weird, alien looking import that's coming. So, and it's not necessarily new. It's been announced for a while, but I'm on the ToyMigos Discord and the Enablers Discord. I'm in both those places, always sharing really cool imports that like I know very little about, and they'll just sort of throw things up there with very little context, which is fine. Like, for me, I just kind of often will go by visuals, and this is one of those where I was like, damn, like
is it wearing a suit or like the thigh cut right there right before is that skin? Yeah. So what is happening here? Is it exoskeleton with what? Is it armor?
I don't know for sure, but
okay.
I kind of read it as an alien thing. But I just love the I think the full on import articulation. I love it.
Except that it's a bug, and I hate bugs. Those are the only cosmic legions I do get. I can't stand they're just I don't know, man. Like
that about you. Okay.
Oh no, I just man.
Oh, so wait, you did mention that I think in your Legions Con Hall.
Yeah, they lay eggs in your mouth. Like so Steven here is like things looks like it would feel horrible in your mouth. Steven, why would you imagine that being in my mouth?
But wait. But sexy eyes, though.
I know it's like this weird thing. Like, isn't this cockroach turning you on? Like, no, I want to throw up. It is. Wow, that pose. Look at that. No, go back to that crisscrossing legs. Like that's. There's very few toys I have that could pull that off. That's pretty impressive, man.
And so, I mean, I love my IP, that I grew up with.
Move past this one. It's making me uncomfortable. Thank you.
Okay, fine. I didn't realize.
No, it's just that weird, like, look at me. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, so that's really cool though. So.
Look at me. I'm a sexy bug.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Wait, so are you not into the Sphexians at all? I'm assuming, huh?
No. So like, I overplay it, but like, those ones, like the trope of sci-fi bugs, I'm just kind of like, I don't care. Like there's nothing appealing this to me. I get it. They're probably going to be the things that we bump into out there because they're so hardy and like they, maybe they can live in a vacuum. I get it. Like if there's a nuclear war, cockroaches will be the survivors. I get it. But I just, I don't know. I just don't want to fight those things. Lizards or whatever else is more appealing to me than bugs. I'm like,
those, I don't know, man.
Box of praying mantises.
Those mental health practitioners sometimes maybe know a little too much.
Yeah, there you go.
Against you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Legions Con, you
Ooh.
went and you've up. I just wanted to draw people's attention. If you haven't gone, go definitely check out the 2
thank you.
videos that he posted showing all the stuff that he's seen and some of the things that he brought home and some really cool stories. We were talking right before this about the generosity of this community and the warmth of this community. So I know you walked away with some unplanned, unsolicited gifts, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, shocked. Yeah.
And I was just saying that, like, I was telling Dom that, like, yeah. And what's funny is you're not the only person with stories like that. Folks are just super giving. And it's also that I think people, one, want more people to know what's going on with Mythic Legions as a line in the community more broadly, right? So people, give away those custom heads. That came out weird. And yeah, and just sort of like, hey, check this out, and love to explain things to people, right? And so I think the other piece is when you have kids, because that's why I asked you, wait, was it this person? Because I've heard several different stories of people who had their kids with them, and people were just like, here, check this out. Oh, you're into that? And I think both it's people are warm, generous, and want people to sort of be there. But I think there's this feeling of like, yeah, we're just excited that young people are kind of interested in this stuff. And
dude,
like,
you got 2 super chats you need to check out here right now. So
oh my god,
yeah, go over to super
okay,
chats.
hold on. Thank you guys, because this is new, brand new. This is the first time.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, this is the first time that this has been enabled, and I was playing with that stuff in the background, didn't realize like, oh, it's totally active now. I think maybe there's something that I haven't fully activated. So Toy Connections, Ken, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Super chats enabled. Love it. You can make me say really weird things now with me. But no, man, thank you so much, to everybody who's here right now, who's been watching the channel, who's man, I'm getting all like, just I appreciate it, and I have officially become sort of monetized in the eyes of the YouTube forces that be.
Keep going.
And
keep
oh
going.
my god,
Keep going.
I know,
Jeebus.
Yeah. Aaron Payne's toy samples, thank you so much. Yeah, this is wild. Nolan, here's another. Wait, Payne's, you're not gonna make me say something weird? Come on. No. Here's another. Thank you, Nolan. Appreciate you. And playing my 3.75. Just flexing on the other dudes.
Oh classic
God.
Steven.
Man, thank you so much.
That's
I really
awesome.
appreciate you. Yeah, this is absolutely the first stream that I've done where that's been enabled.
That's
I just saw
awesome.
it happen on Thursday. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, that's all. Like, I don't even know what to say. I wasn't sure even how this would come up. So now I know what it looks like on this end.
And I got to be here for it.
Yes. You were here for it. Thank you, man. See, oh yeah, cool. Thank you so much. See, and this is how I know how that works. Yeah. And now in any second now, they're going to start talking about wrestling, and then they're going to fight. No, but I didn't type any message. So yeah. So that's the thing, the memberships. Yeah, I'm setting it up. It's actually set up, and I was like so intimidated by the whole thing.
It's hard.
I feel like I need to like do a separate channel video or stream to just kind of announce it and talk about it and say thank you, because damn, that's wild. Yeah, you did get dibs on the first ever super chat. Ken was also the very first person to ever invite me on his channel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
you.
Ken's
a really great dude.
Johnny, or I'm pretty. It's either Johnny or Kayla. Either one. Thank you both, because you guys are awesome. And starting it, coming in hot.
Wow,
wrestling is fake.
Wow, attacking the super chats now. Bold move.
All right. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I don't even know, it's a trip, so I'm just gonna like. So Legions Con Dom.
Yes, I thought that was worth interrupting for, right? You want to be able to.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's great. Yeah, so Legions Con overall, super fun.
How'd it go? Mm-hmm.
Really fun. So my family and I make a trip out of this, right? So we centered around going to Legions Con, but then we rope New York into it. So this time we stayed in Manhattan. We did like Friday, we wandered all over the place. Saturday went to the con. Then Saturday night, we did some more stuff. So we didn't get to hang out with anybody because I've got my boys, my wife there.
Sure.
And, it's fast and furious, but
were all four of you at the con or just you?
Yeah,
and the boys?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you, you'll recognize this N.E.W.S photos because we're all wearing, one of these hats on. And I love that they're into, like, Finn actually reminded me before we were packing up. It's like, oh, Dad, did you get the hats? I'm like, I love that you remembered that. I love that you're into this. Like, so
Man, you're so good with that. The kids,
it's great. Well, because we share that show, and it like it's just, I don't know. So, and then we actually got complimented or talked, like, people were like, oh, I know what that is. Like, oh, it's Gravity Falls. So it was really funny that people were calling that out too, and the boys love that. But yeah, so last year they only made it about an hour and a half, and then once they got their plunderlings, which you can see on both flanks of this picture there, you've got the dark one with the eyeglass and the orange one there, yeah, and then the little hatchlings are scattered. Last year, once they got their plunderlings, they're like, we're done. I'm like, no, but I haven't gotten to see that much, right? But this year they knew exactly what they wanted. They were like, plunderlings, Dad. I'm like, yeah, okay. And T tried to hold out. He's like, well, maybe there's no plunderlings. So, and the plunderlings display was incredible. This huge diorama, one of the largest tables was there, full mountains and like a waterfall and stuff. I showed it in one of the videos.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic. And he had all these separate like teasers. Like there was a Kraken, huge plunderling, and like all this stuff out there. So members.
Were those the same ones that he had that they had over at PowerCon too?
I missed. So unfortunately, I missed PowerCon, and I didn't know that they're not having one this year, like in 2024. Sure. And I was like, man, so that's a show we're going to start adding to our tours for. So
tell me about it, man. We had total plans. I was going to be there next year. Someone was going to bring me out, and I was like, yay! And then nope. But
yeah, that sucks. But yeah, so like what we walked away from in the show is like all these bucks that are in here, with the exception of the orc and the one goblin with the pink the pig flesh head. I hate that pig flesh they get it in. But all those bucks,
pig flesh head.
Right there. Yeah, it's got so it's got this like pig flesh to it. I'm
too
just like,
real. Yeah.
Like he squeals when he bites into people, but all those bucks are actually from my collection. So what we focused on was accessories and heads. Yeah. So that's what we pulled in, was all these different type of heads to add more different characters to, whether cosmic or mythic legions that we had. So amazing paint jobs, amazing sculpts. It was overwhelming to commit. Like there was one table we're sitting at where we got the Cthulhu head from. I was like, I love Cthulhu, but I also love this guy, but I also love a badger. But what about, like, it was a struggle the whole time. So,
yep. Wow. But yeah, you came home with some great ones. I love this axolotl one that I've seen.
That's from Nikki Nicole Cheney. That's from CB Make. That fiddle right there is my favorite accessory we got from the show. Actually, we were just playing, my boys and I were playing with the goblins today, and like that fiddle is so cool. And like once you put it in someone's hands, you're like, this is a character. Like, you just put that in someone's hands. It got flame decals. You're like, why do you have a fiddle and this flame? Like, man, so good.
God, yeah, these faces are gnarly. Look at that.
Yeah, really, that head's actually my favorite one. And all those props there, you see like the you can see the exclusive figure kind of in the background, but like that cola machine, the console, like all that stuff was from the show. And it was great. That table at the very bottom, the rifle case,
right. And then I saw this sort of like one piece of like a barrel and the crate all together. So cool.
They're all kind of like over here, and I keep looking and be like, but yeah. So the creator of the cola machine, the barrel sets, and the consoles is Grey Wolf Labs, and he made these amazing shelf dio pieces that are two pieces of foam just magnetized at the base, so you could collapse them down if you needed to. And he was selling for like $50. I'm like, there's no way this is $50, man. And then all his accessories were like $10 to $20. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, how are you selling these things for that cheap? So I gobbled up. Like, I was like, this is awesome. And he messaged, she's like, that's exactly what I wanted to do, is maybe I skimp on a few paint apps here and there, but it's to keep the price points down. I'm like, dude, I love this. Like I bought most of my stuff, as you see in this picture, was from that one spot. So
Yeah, Thanos is saying I would have gone broke buying custom parts and accessories. Like,
And maybe I
100%.
did. Maybe I did.
Well, that's the thing, folks are like, come on, if I like, I was telling you, like Eric LeBron was like, yeah, if I can make it, I'm coming, I'm flying all the way out to Jersey from SoCal. You can do it, 100%. My biggest challenge has always been work. I teach, so like, it's a little bit of a weird time in the year to be taking time off, especially when like this break is coming up and we get time. So, but I know that one, I'd pay for the flight, and then I'd
it all
pay for
adds
place
up.
to stay. But then it's like, man, that everything else that I'd end up here buying, like coming home with stuff.
So here's
And I know it's always GCon the right before, and
Oh,
so
right. Yeah.
I know there's figures there that I'm going to be spending on. So
here's how we break it down. So we make a family trip out of it one. So it's not just paying for the show, which adds to the cost because you're eating out more nights, whatever. It's a family trip, which is awesome. Like we went to the Natural History Museum. The boys played at Battery Park. So you're getting a little bit more out of it. Now we only go to one day of the convention, and I do miss out on being able to hang out with people I know. Like I ran into a lot of people. Like I met Adam from Highly Articulated. Like it was great, but so you miss some of that stuff. But also the other trick is I sell a bunch of stuff before I go to the show. So I'm like on eBay, like purging. And I'm like, okay, I've got my pocket money to go in there. But even then I was like, where's the wife? Okay, yeah, we're gonna add this one too. You know what I mean? Like, especially the custom heads like that. I would do a lap, and like those two in the back, I was my last lap to go say goodbye to somebody, and I was like, I've got to get this head, man. I walked past this and I had regrets, and here it is again. I'm scooping it up. So but it's great, and that's kind of how I like fudge the costs. Like it's a family trip, and I sell a bunch of stuff beforehand. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we spend on this stuff, so I know that it's just it really is that other piece. But I so want to go someday and just like connect with all these people that I know online from the ball, and just like meet some of the people involved in the studio, and also all the crazy wild talent that's just there.
I know. Yes, that is one thing about this show opposed to like Joe Fest. The talent in this place is just up from the setups to the custom cloths to the head painting to like I mean, good grief, man. So yeah, really fun. If you go next year, make sure like let me know so we can try to like coordinate something, because it is fast and furious. So
yeah, because you're usually going on the Saturday. Is that how that works?
Yeah, again, we make a family trip. We drive back on Sundays. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, at the show, I know you did pass by the Spiro table because you got to see Adam you were mentioning, but I don't think if you were there on Saturday, I'm not sure if this was on the table yet. So it wasn't. Yeah.
And I missed no, they weren't. That's right. Yeah.
Because I think you saw the Void revealed on Saturday, and then the next day they revealed, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a whole new action figure line. So Spiro behind the studio behind Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is announced at Legion's Con that they are doing Bushido.
Hey, Adam
Samurai
just
and folklore.
Chat to say hey too. He just said hey.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah. I told you, and I'm happy to share, folks. Like me and the fam are going up to Vancouver tomorrow. I'm going to hang out with this guy, eat some ramen, meet each other's families, and exchange some plastic goodness. And then I'm going to get to see and hang out with Ken from Toy Connections, the first super chat sender on the Brick Something channel. And he's going to take me on some toy trawling. So check out Vancouver. So yeah, awesome to see you, Adam. Speaking of Adam, and perfect. See, we started talking about Spiro, and then he showed up, and he's like, what? Did you not get your order? No. So there's a whole new line that is oh my gosh, what is his name? Oh, I'm so bad. Well, actually, it's here. So apparently this is Dan Mitchell. That's the name I was searching for. Concepted, designed, and sculpted by Dan Mitchell, as it sort of says here, and presented by Spiro Toys. So Dan Mitchell's has been working on a lot of lines and a lot of toys that we're familiar with, but apparently this is his thing of trying to go through Bushido, Japanese samurai, and it sounds like folklore. So it sounded like, from what I've read and seen online. I actually haven't spoken with Jason about it. Heard a couple of things from Adam that there's also going to be sort of the creatures, some Oni potentially. And so here it says here, the line aims to faithfully recreate traditional Japanese warriors such as samurai, shinobi, monks, and then others to battle these mythical threats. Oni, yokai.
That's awesome. I'm really hoping for a Lone Wolf and Cub figure. If you're familiar with that line, I absolutely love Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah. I have a bunch of those books.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
So this was a pick by Adam from Highly Articulated that we talked about last week during our sort of sad boy Legions Con coverage. For those of us that were here, in 2 in California, 1 in New York, and 1 in Maryland. Oz, Ed, and Thanos. But just kind of looking at these prototypes, they look like they're going. I mean, it's Spiro, so they've kind of set a standard for themselves in terms of how these figures move. I love the way the AWOC figures move. And so, we can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on, but I'm sure they're going to figure out ways to make these things posable, highly posable, even with all the armor. So I'm really excited to kind of see what they end up doing with this. But we'll move on. A couple of other things.
No, Allison, there were no ladies female back in the old Japanese era. They were asexual. They just split and divided. So, yep.
And then you said old time Chinese places, and I know, Allison, that yes, I know you, so I know your personality. To be clear, we're talking Japan. Galactic Valor. These were ones, and again, I don't know if they were out on the tables.
Yes,
I did. Were they already?
I got to talk to this dude and see them. I am very excited about this.
I figured.
Yes.
And they're not too insect-like. So, if anything, this was the first figure that was revealed that I saw.
And this is Fox Forge Toys. They did like a 5-inch kind of glycosius type line before, which I passed on, but I saw this dude and like the shading on him, the personality, and he said this is the hunter, this is the protagonist of the group. I was like, oh, a non-human protagonist, that's awesome. The colors amazing. They have these he's got these little tiny black spines on top of his head, which is really cool. And yeah, he was also soliciting feedback from people, and he asked my boys what they thought about it. And like, so that was cool. Seems like a really good dude. And like, yes, this looks awesome to be able to fight Cosmic Legions. I'm very excited. Or my combat creatures. I'm very excited about this.
And it's a slightly different sort of body type, that long, slender look. And it's interesting that they have the sort of cyborg feet going on. Did he mention anything about that? Or
so if you go to the baddies, this is the only good guy they made here. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, noses
went wrong.
There we go. Yeah, so same feet on here. So if I remember right, the bad guys have kind of they're like the evil empire, so everybody else is kind of scraping by to do what they can. So it's more the good guys are forced to do more dirty tech, and then you've got the empire, the bad guys who are kind of have the edge up. And this is supposed to be the troop builder, and that red mask can actually come off, I believe, and you can see like the sculpted face, but the whole helmet doesn't come off though. But yeah, these are sick.
And then there's one more baddie. There are 3 figures.
I don't love the main villain. I don't love the Ming, from Flash Gordon trope of, and I even told him that too. I was like, I don't love the capes. I'm the other 2 I absolutely am in love with. This guy with and Tristan, my oldest, pointed
this out. Are you a no capes guy? Like
no capes,
no
capes. Yeah. So, but what's interesting about his head? He's got like spider type eyes, 3 spider eyes, but they're very lizard and reptilian like. So it's a cool blend. See, even the fangs are very like insect like, or instead of like your normal. So Tristan pointed that out immediately. He was like, oh, I like that blend. I was like, you're right, that is really cool. So
I like the I do like this cape, and I appreciate the sort of the tailoring that's happening on this little thing. It's so when you look at what caught me is the creative team behind these. So I first saw this being posted actually by Nikki,
that's right,
by Nikki Nicole, and I was like, oh wow, huge fan of her work. And then it's like, oh, okay, Creature Sounds doing the sculpting, and C. Jessam, and and so CJ and Caitlin are doing the soft goods. I'm like, wow, these are folks whose work I love. And so I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
Like you, this is the one, like, I'm not as into the baddies, but this one, like right away, I was like, yeah, I think I definitely want this guy. But I'm really curious to see where it goes. And, you know, just to think all these different indie companies popping up. You know, we were just looking at Spiro, they did their Animal Wars of the Kingdom, and then like, you know, we're not resting there. We're doing other lines. We're same with Fox Forge. They did their first. I'm trying to remember the first line, but it's here. It's where is it? These smaller ones, they're like,
yeah, they are. Yeah.
So Stardusk. I remember seeing those two. Wasn't really my thing, particularly scale wise, but I was like, oh, cool concepts. But with these, I'm at least getting this guy. And this is how it happens, man. I bring people on, I start looking at these things like, I'm not that into them.
Oh, man, I am
ahead. And then I'm like, I think
and
I do think I'm gonna need this one too.
Yeah, no, and there's more, right? These are just the first 3. They've got some more coming out too. And again, what tipped me over the edge was Cosmic Legions like broke me somewhere. I'm like, I am so in love with that line. I'm just like, yep, okay, what else can I fit in with this? And I even told him, I was like, hey man, like, no offense to your line, but the reason why I'm so into your line is because of Cosmic Legions. Like, they opened the door for me to be able to look at yours and be like, give me more of that. So yeah. Oh yeah, dopes. Yeah, that makes sense. Covering the sculpts. This one luckily looks removable with that chain there, which you're right. I think that is my complaint. It hides that body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the other thing. Well, if I'm critiquing this and I'm looking at things like, one, I think it's great. So don't get me wrong. My critique is just
exactly.
But this thing looks great.
Yes.
Looks like it's essentially the same body. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense to maybe try and create some variety with the cape. I don't know. And then I don't know. Did you do what was that cap? What's it called? Where you would the old toys from the late 80s, maybe even 90s, where you would interact with
Captain Power.
Yeah, the bad guy, Captain Power. This head totally reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Moving on, let's go through some more like Legions Connie stuff. These were just a couple of I kind of did a whole thing last week with the folks, but just a couple of my favorite things that I saw. And then I know you mess with dios and you look at other creators, but so this piece was thank you, Dork Lair. But Mythic Bits did this beautiful piece again, very for the dwarves. I love that sort of it is, you know, I can't get away from the Grayskull thing, but I think it's just really smart design, right? It's like this real focal element for you to kind of look at. So I dig this.
It's enough to blend to it, right? So it's unique enough, but it has that same weird green, not mossy green, to be able to blend with it. You could easily stand next to your Grayskull. Yeah, it's really cool.
I don't know what's going on. I've been having some weird thing. Actually, I do know what's going on. I'll talk about that some other time. But anyway, Mask of the Red Death, but all of these cool little accessories. Like, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, Thanos was saying at the con, like you, I probably wouldn't be getting figures. Like, I'd love to look at all the customs, but like, if I had to take that money,
he wasn't selling those swords there. He did sell those magic effects, but I was like, how much are these swords? Like, oh, they're gonna go up in the shop. And I was like, no, man, I want those. They were like so juicy, translucent candy. He had those swords, and there was another. There was like another cool weapon, like an axe or something like that. I was like, man, I can't wait for these to come out. Those are really cool.
Delator or Detour Customs. Just want to call that out, and again, I'll put those in that document. Oops, this was not the one that I was. Oh, same one. We can move on. Jesse, who was on your road to Legions Con, took a battle cat from Masterverse and turned it into this gorgeous ferret.
So
this is
awesome.
like either Kodo or Podo, one of the two. Are that their names? I think from Beastmaster. But very cool, like a giant ferret steed, and he had some other really great things. And I'm so happy to sort of see his table and people's shots, and like,
he's really talented. I grabbed a mouse wizard head from him, and he was next to CB Make, and like between the two of them, like they dominated this one corner, and then you hang around from where they're selling stuff, and he's got a full display of that stuff on there. It's like, good grief, guys, you could just camp out at this table alone. Like, yeah, really good stuff.
That's where the Robin Hood stuff was too, right?
Robin Hood, maybe.
Oh, did you happen to see? Oh, you didn't see?
His yes, no, that was on the same length, but on the opposite side, where they recreated all the hippos and that was incredible. Yeah,
I covered those last time, but I just that's definitely a standout from the show. But okay, so Legion's Con, guys, like we haven't gotten to the Legion's Con stuff. This is just some other things. Blued Sculptures did a beautiful Gandalf head. I am a big Rankin Bass Tolkien kid. So, and CB Make's doing a bunch of the sort of the characters from that. So that's awesome. I just really love this Gandalf head. It's just a ridiculously over the top wizard beard that for whatever reason creates in itself.
Great. Yep. Really great.
Anyway,
CB Make also really fantastic. I bought a ferret kit from him before, and this time it came around, I was like, I know you. I'm buying more of your stuff. Like, yeah, really cool.
That's awesome. Was that your first time getting to meet him?
Yeah, most of these people, like last time I went, I was very shy. I was like, hey, I just want to buy my thing and leave. This time, if I recognize, because I've had more exposure to the community, I was like, oh wait, I bought from you, or we share each other on Instagram, whatever. So yeah, different interactions and stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's move past the Legion stuff and get into some other things that I kind of just wanted to look at with you. You share a lot of really cool things with people, like doing kit bash stuff, taking random materials. And this person definitely does some of the modeling stuff. And there's a couple pieces I wanted to share in particular. Just stuff like this, a real like kind of quirky. I don't know if you were ever into Machine and Krieger back in the day, which was like this world that was all designed by like old model kits, and they'd kit bash these sort of World War II in kind of a alt future thing with gigantic mecha tanks and mecha suits and stuff. And so this stuff reminds me of that sort of tradition of the like well-worn universe, random bits and pieces tied together. Nothing real, like I don't even necessarily need to, this is just how my brain works. Like I can build a story in my head around this. It's just a cool, interesting world. I'd love to see that on a couple figures. And so they just do things like this, and I'll geek out. I'm like, oh, there's a cool helmet. This is a cool backpack, and my Japanese is really weak. So I don't know if that's Chinese, but so I have no idea what this is, but it's pretty amazing and all.
So my Finn is huge into Studio Ghibli. Well, we all are. We love Studio Ghibli, but one of his favorite movies is Nausicaa, and like this has those vibes of like pseudo steampunk mixed with post-apocalyptic. Like like there's a function to this that seems like it's more industrial, but it's still pieced together at the same time. So yeah, very cool. Yeah.
There was a particular. Oh, of course, I couldn't pass
the Lego
this
head.
One.
Look at those arms. That's great.
What do you call that? Like you're into the whole thing of like building on a space station. Like
the world builders.
Yeah. There's a couple of folks that you've featured that I've gone deep on, and then like it took me to just things pop up in the feed like this, and I'm intrigued by this kind of work. It's someday I want to just get a bunch of random scrap and just see what we can come up with.
Making Hicks 6, just everything he does is from Greebles, and he'll make a speeder bike or a pod racer or a ship and a robot. It's just from junk,
like Tic Tac containers and stuff. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, and when you look at the finished product, you're like, no, you didn't. You're a liar. But like it's really good. So yeah. I wrote down this account too. I'm gonna go follow them right after this. Behead Works. This is great.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff. So this was actually the piece that I wanted to share because I love this kind of stuff, man. I'm a sucker.
Yeah, of course.
Or like the big dog type stuff, but even more sci-fi than our reality.
Oh man, currently. That revolver, the holster there. That's so cool.
and you just like just put this next to one of your cosmics, put
that
this in your
sounds yeah.
game,
Yeah.
right? Like figure out the mechanics for this little thing and what it can do.
And what's cool about this, it already tells a story. Just you
Yep.
you don't need any
Yeah.
backstory. You don't need to know who the hero is. But like, look, there's
Yes.
revolvers on each side of it too, so you can like reach down and pull. Man, this is so cool, man.
Hey, Amanda. Good to
Oh,
see you.
I love that little guy. Would fit well in Borderlands. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, I love this little guy.
Some nice moody shots of the
It
same little
lights up. Of
thing. Of
course, it lights
course
up.
it,
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
of course.
Just stop. Just stop. This is so much. Look at
I
that.
mean,
That's
that's the thing.
awesome.
It's like we've got the big toy manufacturers making stuff. You've got these indies doing things, and then you've got these like real like sort of artisans kind of putting things
Exactly.
together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
Makes me
because we
want to
have,
just unplug my IG account and just quit, to be honest. So
well,
just do it.
I mean, with the internet now, we just sort of like look at it
Yeah.
and just be inspired by it. Because okay, a little shift here. Let's talk soft goods. This is just totally random. I just
Wow.
saw it. I was just like, I need to show people this. This is just somebody's you can work with cable knitting or with yarn and just
Look at that.
fantastic. Are you a Attack on Titans person? Is
I'm
this
not.
something you're doing?
I'm not. I just
Cool.
I it
Cool.
missed. I missed it when it first came out, and now with the boys, I'm not quite. Yeah, that's. Oh
This
wow,
is
that's
by
great
someone
though.
named Jaffa Saba, who I tried to find the original, but I couldn't. But it's this account right here, hidden .ny, it just has such fun random things that pop up. But
Man, I'm increasing my. Yeah, I'm writing all these down. This is awesome. Hidden and
but it's
why
just
awesome.
the talent, and like if I had this in cold weather, yeah. Anyways, that has nothing to do with anything other than just cool
Oh,
stuff.
it's cool. Oh, I love being able to see this stuff, man. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. This next person, as we move through, I don't know why that's doing it. So Cooler Creations was totally new to me. I must have like gotten, it must have been recommended because Thanos clearly was here. But I'm a sucker for anything Thundar, and anyone who remembers Thundar, I'm like,
Are
oh
you
cool, let's
really?
talk about it.
Really? Huh.
Yes, yeah. Why? Not your thing?
No, I didn't know that. And like I always, again, as a kid, I was like, I don't know what this is. But later on, when Adult Swim first came out and they had Thundar, I was like, this is interesting. I'm kind of into this. Like it's neat. It's darker than He-Man. It's more moody. I don't know, there's more of the world. I don't know. It was cool. Yeah.
Had some Kirby concepts and
Yeah.
Alex Toth, like two of my favorite artists. It totally was riding the what do you call it? Totally
I was
riding the
Scooby-Doo
Star
style. Oh,
Wars.
yeah.
Yeah, but Star Wars, right? So this is Ruby Spears writing off the sort of Star Wars thing and mixing it up with Conan. So now you've got a barbarian in a post-apocalyptic Earth. They're going around. You're seeing sights. You see the Statue of Liberty in this show. You see that they go through the subways, and there's like for some reason there's wizards, and I was all about it. And just like Han Solo, they had like the sidekick who was like a giant animal type that just grunts and growls.
No, I thought it was super fun. It's got the boots with the fur.
That's the second time that's come up on a stream today. But I would love to actually see some Thundar things. This and Black Star, and I mentioned I'm conspiring with Thanos that every stream that I'm going to do or every chat that I'm in,
that's your plug, right?
The next month, I'm just going to somehow bring up Black Star.
Start that IO campaign. Great, yeah, do it. Incept.
But what's cool about this Cooler Creations, more recent stuff was some of their Motu things, right? They're kind of like, I think the vibe is more like those old Infinity, those Disney things. I don't know if you're familiar with
the toy box.
And now the toy box.
You're right.
Yeah, that art style. But
that's
just
cool.
that, like reducing characters that we know to kind of its simplest forms to still make it recognizable. I love that. A sucker for that. And then straight up concepts for what if we did Masters of the Universe, some just like new alternate, since the world is multiversal now and everyone's all about the multiverse. This is his or their Beyond the Universe series, with Skelra from Eternia
Okay,
861.
I was gonna say that those are boobs, right? I can't tell if it's armor or not. So like, yeah, so gender bend on Skeletor. I like it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool. You know, it's funny when I was younger though, I
That's great.
hated when they would do like the gender bend, like now it's Spider-Man's a girl or this person's a boy. I'm like, I don't like this concept. But more lately, I started enjoying mashups. Like there's a bunch of Marvel comics I have where they just mashed up a bunch of dudes because of some
Yep.
Infinity event. I was like, this is super fun and I don't care. Like Iron Man, the Sorcerer
Yep.
Supreme. I'm like, this is super fun. I love this. Like Wolverine, Iron Man. I'm like, yep, any of this. Like I'm down for it. Like seeing something, a twist on this. Like right now there's the TMNT and Motu Origins. I'm like, that looks really fun. Like that looks really cool and fun. Like I like this. So yeah,
Yep.
I would absolutely buy this figure. This is fantastic.
And again, that's what I love. Recently, He-Man.org ended, and one of my favorite things on He-Man.org were people sort of like doing things like this, or trying to maybe like do all the different characters in their style.
Yeah,
I love it when people are like, "Hey, I want to recreate," and come up with different visions of some of these characters.
Wait, hold on, go back. This is very
This one or
Tedakowski, this one here, Samurai Jack type style Tedakowski.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at like the face and like that sculpt there. Like, oh man, this is cool. This is fun.
Very, very, yeah.
Oh,
Samurai
goodness.
Jack, the old Clone Wars,
Yeah.
Slime, Tila, just cool stuff. Some of them I'm not super into, but I was like, okay, that's fun. And
Oh,
I think in the spirit of the Masters of the Universe line in general, it's just all about like, there's a bunch of dudes like coming up with random concepts anyways. And this just continues that, like no holds barred. You can mix whatever. You can mix sci-fi, the barbarians, cowboys, robots.
Yeah. Oh, Batman the animated
meteor
series. There you
people.
go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
Their take on a battle
That's
armor.
straight out of freaking Samurai Jack, man. That looks like a Legion. This is great. This is so fun. What's this cool creation? Sorry, I wrote them down. I got them.
And just because we're on this tip, I want a Super 7 Ultimate Overlord from Black Star. Yeah, such an intimidating design, and this is interesting. Yeah, you're right, Thanos. Somebody needs to bring Black Star and Thunder. Yeah,
oh,
so
weird.
there you go.
That came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that comment.
Totally.
So strange. Yeah.
And I'd be down for all the Hanna-Barbera characters, definitely. So like, I'm blanking, but definitely Space Ghost, the Johnny Quest stuff, the Herculoids, all of that stuff. But yes, thank you. You're closer on the chat than I am. Thank you. Definitely the Batman the Animated Series stuff. And it looks like Amanda's account was hacked by Adam. Yeah, I knew that was
for
the case.
1 minute.
Yeah, I love this because the other reason I love this so much is because the people who actually hold the He-Man property and are making toys, Mattel, in their Masterverse line, have created the opportunity to do all sorts of things, including these like unique versions, and they're kind of doing it with New Eternia, and like they play their cards right. They could go back with some of this kind of stuff and just
I'm having fun with those figures. Yeah.
This I love this because I've always thought that the bats were kind of like, oh yeah, what a great idea with Trapjaw, and you can put his different arms on his belt. I remember thinking that when the bats came out.
That's funny. Yeah, the bat design is so sleek and cool, and like I have a bunch of those O-ring ones. I'm like, what am I doing with these? But every time I think about getting rid of them, I'm like, I can't. You're too cool. You're just like the black and the gold, and like, yeah, it's great, man. Space Ghost? I can't think of Space Ghost except for his Coast to Coast show. That's the only thing I get everything in.
I'm old enough to know him before that. And actually
I am too, but like that show it has erased, like those thoughts have come out, and all I can think of is Space Ghost Coast to Coast now. Like that voice and everything. It has replaced all those ones. So it's awesome.
I'm with you on these things, man. Yep. That's why I started the channel. I just want to talk about the things that people need to do, and yeah, you've picked up on it. These are things that I'm asking for too.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So just more, and we'll move on.
Wow, they've got a lot. Actually, that's cool. Yeah.
Let me throw this in just because in
Doc
Argentina,
Samson.
they had in Argentina, they had the license and the tooling for the He-Man tooling, and they created
Right.
their own characters with it. So this is actually
Okay,
one of
cool.
those original characters out of Argentina.
Oh, that's cool.
Fuerza T, I think is what it was called. So it was like they took like the arm of Fisto, and then mix it with the head of He-Man and put a goatee on him, you know. So it's kind of cool to sort of see this thing, and I applaud Motu and its fans for doing that. But let's shift a little.
Ooh, what do we got here?
To people just creating the most amazing things. This is Dexter Jetster's diner. That is apparently going to be shown in a couple of weeks at DesignerCon in LA. I'm actually trying to figure out if I can get down there just for a couple of days. But this kind of stuff, I'm just, again, we're in a world where like we have the toy companies doing their thing, the big toy companies doing their thing, indie toy makers, and then just fans are like, you know, like I like that one scene from Attack of the Clones. I think I want to make that.
Sure.
And then they put it on the internet for all of us. Whose
account is
so this is Centerpoint Studios.
Oh my goodness.
It's still in progress. I kind of just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack too, by the way. You can't hear it on your end, but great Radiohead song. So I love this, and I just sort of love people making these kinds of things for their figures. We don't have the time for me to even show you the rest of their stuff, but they do custom Star Wars figures, and like people do alternate heads, and just but let's move on to one more Star Wars thing, and then we'll kind of wrap up. This is okay. So are you in the family big theme park people? Have you done that? Been able to do much of that with the kids yet?
Oh, no. Nope.
Okay. Well, there is this place called Disney World and Disneyland. No,
what is it?
Where they took this thing called Star Wars, and they're like, what if you could walk around in the world of Star Wars? So they built this thing, Dom. It's called Galaxy's Edge.
Sounds very expensive. Go on.
Yes, it is. I'm lucky because my kid's uncle, my brother, works for Disney. So
nice.
Spoiled. But they recreated essentially parts of that land for their action figures. They kind of put like an Endor Hothi slant on it for their 3.75s. But so it's probably not going to hit as well, but anybody who's been to Batuu will recognize the layout of the sort of main area a little bit. Like it's a mix of things. There's some Endor going on, some Bespin, but this area is
definitely wars in the stars, you say.
Yes, there are wars in the stars.
Man, this is amazing.
And so I love this kind of stuff. And
there's more. They've got another one up there. Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
You've introduced me to this world with the space stations, and I started looking at Megan Hicks and just other folks. Like, wow, they're like building these worlds. I had Mega J Retro on one of these, and I introduced him to Hicks stuff, and was so satisfied when he appropriately freaked out and saw. So I was just showing him sort of details, right? The diodes, and then when I showed him the whole room, he was like, wait, what is this? And so I applaud people's commitment to this kind of thing, working on every little piece. And at the end of the day, like, yes, you have your toys that you bought that you love, but like, think about the like hours that you put into this, and you made that, right? It just like you mentioned the little background diode thing I did. I was like, that was incredibly fun and incredibly satisfying, a fun little creative outlet. And when I look at these folks who do this on the regular and build these little worlds for themselves, just respect, like straight up respect. This is totally something out of Batuu, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, but as sort of like the reference. And then they clearly like took it in their own direction.
This is kind of where our channel has leaned towards is the world buildings, customizers,
Yep.
like how people play with their toys artistically, creatively, make stories, headcanon, like that is that the art and the imagination and time spent into it for me is what is so appealing to it. And like my boys and I play with toys, but like I never stopped, right? So that kind of stuff speaks to me more than other ways to play with your toys as well, which aren't any different, but this is the type of stuff we started leading towards. And like, yeah, I'm all about it. I love this. This is great.
That is fun, but where's Captain EO?
Captain EO,
oh,
yes.
Man, we are here to save the world, Quip. So just more of those, and just really cool to be able to work in your toys and give them a space. And so I think some people are getting bit by that bug. So Cyberzoic, which we didn't talk about tonight. I don't know if you've been looking at that, but Cyberzoic's got Adam considering a bit of world building.
I passed on that line, and the boys and I struggled and debated about it over and over. And finally we're just like, hey man, like we've got a ton of Jurassic dinos running around with 1/18 as it is. For the price point, I'd already committed to one Kickstarter, and then Bose was coming up, like bad timing, and I just can't stretch that far. So, but gorgeous pieces, like amazing.
I'll admit this. I don't know if Amanda's still watching with Adam, but I was really just talking up Cyberzoic and was just super planning on getting a lot. I think I might have had a hand in Adam looking at it a little closer than I think he initially wanted to. And then I eventually just said, nah, just the dragon for me, and walked away. And it wasn't a cheap dragon.
Yes, you got the dragon. That thing's
I got
really
the
cool.
dragon, and I wanted everything else, but that's all I ended up with.
We almost did that for Mythic Legions, but I was like, guys, I think we got to pass this time, man. Like that 200 is going to go. And now Mythic came out with a new wave. I'm like, and that's where that's going. So
exactly. And then we got it. Well, you know, a dragon's coming. It's
I know. Yeah. So, and Brian Brink, if you like that world building stuff, check out ToyDOMination. Check out ToyDOMination.
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. Please. That's why I included these here. Check out ToyDOMination. I completely was introduced to there's a word for it. What are the stations like?
So it started with Empire Toy Works. Like he's like considered like the grandfather of it, right? There's this world building where you just create your own.
Yeah, break it down.
He has a space station set up, which he would say like, hey, you don't have to recreate Star Wars scenes. You can make up your own stuff in your own universe. So no one holds you captive to your creativity. And that just exploded with all these This is used to be very respectful, like copycatting his style or trying to mimic his style, right? And like all these different talented people came out, and they've done their own twist on it. But you see all these play sets and these world builders out there creating their own setups, whether it's something like this where it's a layout, or whether they just stack it on top of each other, they build into the walls or whatever. So yeah, it's really good. And for me, like I built a spaceship because with our own lore and blah blah blah, which just go look at my stuff, figure it out. But yeah, that's kind of like the world builder creators.
Yeah, and I love it. So that's ToyDOMination is Dom's channel. Yeah, Toy. Keyboards. ToyDOMination is Dom's channel, and I mean, there's a couple of things. And so actually, thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate you working with me and trying to make us look good, because let's segue. So the last sort of section is always sort of that's what's up, where we sort of focus on a creator. And actually, whoopsie, I meant to talk about TK421 as the start of that section, but let's really go to this guy. ToyDOMination. That's who we're talking about, and that's who we're talking to together, talking with. So Dom, in addition to some of the things we mentioned at the beginning of this stuff, and we've already sort of started talking about the world building. So we know you're into Legions, you're doing the world building, but you're also into playing with your toys, and you are creating a way for all of us to have some sort of a little bit more structured play with our toys. Tell us about the action versus what is that what you've landed on?
So there's two games. One, so I'm a big tabletop guy, and I'm a big D&D guy too. So the first one was very battlefield centric with like full units, and I think unless you're insane and collect platoons worth of tanks and like whole companies worth of soldiers, that one's not as appealing. And it's really tiring to drag all that stuff out in your yard, right? So that one's not as appealing. That's one, it's done. This one though, this is, oh man, that creepy filter. Yeah.
Actually, hold on. Let me pause on that just to
yeah.
be clear. So you've developed 2 games. That first one was more military with like vehicles in play.
Yeah.
And so yes, and then this is the newer one. This is the one that you were able to play with the Legions class guys, right? You kind of ran using
100%.
that.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, what's going on with this?
This is all copyright infringement, by the way, too. So yeah, this one is broken down
gray
to
area.
I'm just kidding, man. To 5 characters on each side. You can play player versus player. I'm writing scenarios so you can play solo play in case you don't have a lot of nerds around you like me, or you don't have kids. So there's 5 scenarios, and then the idea is, the mechanic is, those dice right there represent an action. So if you have 6 dice, that's 6 actions you can take. So there's an economy there to like, oh, I could do this and burn 3 dice, or I could do this and burn 1, but maybe I want to hold 1 dice back for defense. So like there's a lot of player choices just with the actions you take, which is what I love from Dungeons and Dragons. If you're just told like, well, you can either die or you can, not die, I'm like, well, this isn't really a choice, right? So there's a lot of that just baked in the mechanics, and it's agnostic. You can play with any type of toy, and that's like, these are Crisis 2 aliens, by the way. Everyone always asks that, like, hey, where are these things? I played with these G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and we even threw in like a 1/6 figure in there because it's very simple measurement. Like, is it a foot? Is it over a foot? That's it. That's all you need to know, right? So very simplistic to cut down any crunch. So my 8-year-old likes to play this because it's easy. I'm like, hey, it's a 6, 4, 5, 6 is a hit. He's like, oh, okay. So he knows when he tosses the dice out what he needs to get. And it's, I don't know, we've had a blast with it. I've had a bunch of play testers help me out. By the way, these videos, so I don't want to brag, but I put a lot of production.
Hold on. Let me pause you. You don't have to say that. I will say that. These videos are awesome.
Thank you.
The production on these videos from the start, like the graphics, everything, which I'm super drawn to. And like, you're really showing us the game, like all the little sort of like the intro, the dramatic, there's 2 Doms in this. There's Dom talking about this, and then there's dramatic narrator Dom. No, I love it. The energy's there, but just like you mentioned, it being agnostic. Like if folks can't tell, these are not like a single toy line. These are just like whatever you've got, right? You've got stuff from all sorts of like Star Wars. Who is this guy in the middle?
That's a Star Wars character that I don't know, but my boy,
it's from the prequels.
Yeah, but he's so fun. He's like this purple alien, right? And like, and that's a Joy Toy figure. And like, I
got it all in here.
And I borrowed a bunch of mechanics from different games I love. One is Relic Blade, where I kind of got the dice idea from, but another one is it's
look at that. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. So the editing, I also do the voice acting of these things. What I wasn't going to brag on my work. What I was going to say was the hours put into each one of these little videos is literally almost 40 hours sometimes, because it's voice acting, it's editing, it's going back and taking shots, putting the effects on. I'm like, man, I wish these were more popular so I could do more of these, but everyone wants troop building videos or reviews. I'm like, I want to do more of these, but they don't do it. They don't do as well for as much a time that I put into them, which is frustrating, but I love doing these videos. And I think
that breaks my heart too, man.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing the next years. Like someone asked me like, oh, do you like a G.I. Joe Berg live action? I'm like, yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going to end up going, is more of this type of because I enjoy it. I like storytelling and I like playing. So I'm like, man, I'm just going to start doing more of those. So this was so fun. Like I had fun doing his voice, and like, it was fun. So
it's absolutely fun, and it really gives you a sense of like, the game and the potential of playing with your toys and getting to enjoy them in this different way.
That poor guy.
Yeah, I know, that poor guy.
Next year, though, we're going to put out a book. So I hired an artist. That's what our Patreon actually supports, is like, artists are not cheap because they are talented and they deserve pay, right? So he was like, hey, it'll be this much for these many characters. And I'm like, okay, well, start a Patreon. So the Patreon goes to help funding him. We're actually going to put this together into a book and have it by Joe Fest. I want to have books in hand. And I actually rented a table at Joe Fest and be like, hey, come play this game. So like, people come to the table and play it and be like, hey,
are you doing like the layout and everything yourself?
Yeah, I'm
going to do the illustrations.
So I'm Joe is going to help with the graphic or the actual interior design and layouts, because I can write everything, and I have a very generic kind of layout, but he'll help manage that. And then I hired the artist to actually do some character art and some concept art for it too. So, so we're in it, and like by Joe Fest, I'll be able to be like, hey, here's some custom cards.
That's great.
And yeah, so that's what the Patreon goes towards, is trying to get this up.
So you'll have a table at Joe Fest.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So yeah, I know. So definitely swing by if you're heading to Joe Fest.
Yeah,
That's
come toss
in
some
Georgia.
dice.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Is that in Georgia?
Yes, Augusta, Georgia, in June sometime-ish. So
yeah, go check it out. I love this section, by the way. I'm reminded of like Henry Global, like this whole bridge, these characters that you made with dial tone, and it was really cool. But
yeah, thanks.
This is the game. Like, please look at this video, watch it. It hurts me to hear that. Like, yeah, I get it. It's the ones that we love and put a lot of work into aren't necessarily the ones that get a lot of views, but I suspect that this kind of thing hopefully has a life beyond, and hopefully we'll get I don't know, some attention maybe later, I hope, because it is a lot of work. It's super creative, and this is the kind of stuff that just brings me right in. My kids saw this and like, what's that? And they were just looking over my shoulder like, oh, what's going on there?
And that's the other thing. It's a struggle not to drop any profanity to any of these, to make sure that my boys, because I always want to be able to have them watch stuff. So I'm like, it sounds so cheesy when you say dang in a video, when it's like a dramatic moment. You're like, no adult would say dang. But yeah, I do try to keep them, because I've had several people say, I watched that with my daughter, I watched that with my son. I'm like, and that's how that will remain forever, to make sure that as many people can watch it as possible. So without it being cheesy. But thanks so much, man. It really, like, honestly, like, of anything I've been doing, those videos, I constantly look back in my studio and be like, why are these doing more? They're good video. Like, the other ones I put out, like some of the videos I put out, I was like, yeah, I just rushed that one out there. And how did this get so much higher than this one? Why not this one? Go look at this.
I know.
Yeah, but
yeah, man, I really, here Ken says it's unique. So eventually, as it gains traction, people look for older videos. Best thing you can do is make a playlist. Absolutely. And I think as the games comes out and people sort of go back, I think it'll be great to have these ready to go, and you can send people there, and hopefully they get more attention. It looks like you won't be alone.
Yay. No,
I know Ken will definitely be there, because he's got a toy line too.
Yeah, where's my Delta 17, Ken? I can't wait for my Delta 17, guys, by the way. So.
And Adam might make it to Joe Fest. So there you go. Y'all can reconnect when he's not busy behind the AWOC table, or
nice.
Actually might end up being busy behind an AWOC table.
That's right.
But all right, last thing before we go. I know we've hit at 6, but as I mentioned to you, thank you for calling out these. I've been having a blast with these.
Oh wait, go back up to that liquor
on YouTube.
Go to that liquor one.
Where was it?
You made me go toy hunt because of that video. I was like, what is this thing? Like,
it moves like butter. I warned you about the tongue. The tongue, falls out fairly easy because of the weight. But so I started doing these, and I tend to be a little bit like visually driven because of my past work as a designer and all that kind of stuff. But I mentioned earlier, and I appreciated that you recognize these things and like called out these things, because I was having so much fun like doing the homage to these cards, right?
Love it.
And so this was a while back now, and I was like, oh, thanks, Dom. But then I saw this really recently, yesterday.
This video is suffering so badly. And nobody on my channel wants to watch this.
Please, this is amazing. And people even commented in here just in terms of how well done it is. Like, again, you're doing some really cool creative stuff on the channel. Like, it's super fun for me to watch. And then bringing in the toys after this. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
It hurts my soul to hear that people aren't looking at these, and so check it out. It's really cool stuff, and I love that you're taking the nostalgia and then kind of bringing it into something more current that we can talk about. It's really cool. Are you going to be doing? Is this going to be a thing?
So again, this takes a while, but I absolutely love these cards so much, and I'm not just nostalgia. I've got like these are the modern ones. Like I'm into it. I'm a current comic reader, so like
I know
it goes. Yeah, so I love this. Even I knew this wouldn't do well either, because I'm like, people don't want to see this in my channel. I'm not a comic channel. So again, I'm crying a lot. I'm sure maybe I should be on Payne's show right now, crying so much here on the couch. But I look at that art. It's so cool. And I used to carry these in a fanny pack when I wore a mullet. Yeah, I had a mullet. I'll own it in Texas. And I literally would trade these things, and we would argue about like why Fing Fang Foom wasn't so cool and he was overpowered. Like, this is before Pokemon cards. Like, these were, and that Joe Jusko, good grief. And so in the videos, you'll notice I don't take a lot of time each card. I make a comment, move on, make a comment, move on, and do front and back. So yeah, these are, I like these, and these may be self-indulgence, not mindless self-indulgence, some self-indulgence there. But I love these, and I'll keep doing them, even if they get like one like I don't care.
I'll watch
these
them.
Are fun, so
put them on repeat. Oh, look, shame. I didn't like it. So there, one more. 13.
Yeah, whoopity. Thanks. No, if you appreciate that, like I even asked someone, said like, hey, do more of these. I'm like, tell me which character you want next, because there's so few people watching these relatively that like you get a vote. You know what I mean? So
it's great. And so I was hoping to be able to show a little bit of variety, like, so, and folks are, you know, and
that's a stat comparison, like comparing between the stats and how they change between the cards. So
yeah, people, you know, there's a lot of us who
that's the same thing. The cards got me into there. Yeah.
And folks are subscribing. Great. Cause
thank you. And thanks, really Ken, by the way. I saw, sorry to cut you off. I saw Ken's comment. Good. Thank you, Ken. Ken, by the way, generally good dude, as well as having a good channel as well. He's leaning into the historical type videos. But like, just I reach out to him and like, hey man, like I was actually about to reach out to you, like, hey, how do I deal with this one thing? Really good dude, you know, met him in person at Joe Fest. So great channel too. So, and thank you for all the other guys who don't know me and were saying things like this, like you gave super chats to Brick here. But Brick, just you highlighting those videos that I'm so proud of that are suffering, you know what I mean? I'm just like, thank you. Like that honestly made my day. Like, honestly, like, I'm like, oh, yay. I'm not a piece of crap. Yeah.
You're not at all. And so
no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I know that. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's like, we work so hard on our channels, and we're geeking out and talking about all these like things that we love. But for me too, it's like when I can geek out about the graphics, like, I mean, like, yeah, I took time to do these graphics and cool. Whatever it is. And like, I know like most people probably don't care, but like, it's fun. This is my creative outlet, and I see that in your stuff, everything, whether it's like the way you play with the boys, like you sort of set up that, then you've got all the awesome graphic stuff, and it's just all sorts of really cool things you've got going on. So I'm glad I'm seeing people saying I subscribed, which is good. Mission accomplished, because like it's one of the best channels out there, and I love it. Thanks. So I'm
also, I just posted your congrats on your 600. I wanted to wait till it was closer to this was a cool thing you did, by the way. Like, this taught me like I need to get off my butt and start doing stuff like this too. But personalized, send a sticker. Thanks so much, man. I posted on IG too. It was like, hey, that's a cool thing, man.
Yeah, that's the least I can do. Again, you were one of the first. You, Ken, Adam, folks were just like, hey, come on. And I was like, really? You want me on your channel? Yeah, I would love to. And so I appreciate that. And it's funny, I meant to write you back, and you probably saw with all the weird things on IG. Something funny's happening with my account, but I think I'm blocked from commenting until tomorrow.
What did you do?
We'll talk about it. Anyways, man, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about some needless ephemera and just basically having fun for like an hour and 20 minutes or whatever.
That was fun. I learned a ton of stuff. I wrote down a ton of accounts to follow, and I've been actually copying the people in the chat here too. Yay. So if I didn't recognize you, I tried to capture all your names. Thanks a lot.
Now, and so I will, and I'll send you the link, but I do put these things up on the one URL that was on the bottom earlier. What is it? bit.ly/Brick Something News, capital B, capital S, capital News, because it's BS News. And so all the links are there to these folks, because again, I want to give folks credit.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Just like I did with your channel. Like, I want people to go and check this stuff out and check out some of the stuff that maybe doesn't get the attention it deserves. So anyways, well, thank you so much for coming on a Sunday evening. I know it's a little later for you. I hope you have a wonderful November holiday. I hope everyone in the chat does as well. I am as we mentioned, I'm looking forward to leaving tomorrow to leave the country and
That's
go
awesome.
check out Canada, hang out with Adam and Amanda tomorrow, and hang out with Ken on Thursday, and just be with my family, checking out a new place. So hope everyone gets some downtime. Thank you for geeking out with me. Thank you to everyone in the chat, and especially thank you to the folks with the super chat. And thanks for reminding me that that's working now, and that's amazing. So I hope we get to talk again soon, Dom. And
Absolutely.
I hope if you're ever going to do another like a setup thing where you want play testers or whatever, I'd love to do it. I wasn't able to make the last one. I'm super jealous, and we'll figure it out.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you to everyone watching. And I think that's pretty much it. So I haven't really figured out the cool, clever thing to say at the end.
You won toys. You won. That's it.
Is that it?
You don't need to do another stream ever again. You won.
Thank you. Dom, I can't properly say goodbye. Otherwise, my mother would be mad at me. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon next Sunday.